like the most focused by far in my life that I have ever been. And it's because I've swiped left and said no to a lot of things that are just not what I want to focus on right now. What's up, business baddies? I'm Rima, and you are now tuned in to The Remix, where being overbooked is overrated and simple businesses are sexy. And on today's episode, we're going to talk all about vision boards. If you know me, you know I am obsessed with vision boards. I've been making vision boards for, I want to say 5 years now. And I will say they didn't start off so pretty and great. And true story, I actually threw a couple of them in my trunk because I just never got around to finishing them. And I actually want to help you avoid that feeling of making a vision board and feeling like you just threw a bunch of stuff on a poster board and don't really know what you're doing. I am a firm believer in visualization, and I think that after 5 years, I've been able to bring it down to science. So I want to share that with you. It's a 5-step process that I put together just to help other people be really intentional about their vision. So this is my vision board up here. We'll get into some more details about my vision board later, but I really mostly want to focus on how to really be intentional with what you put down so that you walk out with something that you love. This is the first year that I can say I honestly love every single thing that I've put down on my vision board. And more importantly, I actually believe in everything that I put down on my vision board. I believe that all of it is going to happen. So let's get right into it. So the first step in making a really intentional, badass vision board is a central theme. Okay, so the first couple steps, as you'll see, have nothing to do with the actual cutting out and creating the vision board. It really happens up here with how you're visualizing. And so it really is helpful to start with a theme. What is the one theme? And I really urge you to pick one theme that you can stand by, that you really believe in, that you want to. What is the season that you want to enter into? And how could you start to articulate that with either a word or a symbol that can help you bring everything together? So once you've identified a theme, something that, is really going to be the umbrella category for everything else that you put on your vision board, you can really start to use that as the lens through which you look at everything else. So for me personally, my theme was Arabs are up next. It doesn't say that there, and it doesn't have to say that, but it's this idea that the Arab American community, which I am really involved in, I'm an Arab American woman. I really care about the advancement of my people in America. And I realized oh my God, this vision board is not really about me right now. It's about this mission that I care a lot about. And that might be the same for you. So think of a theme, write down maybe a couple themes if you can't pick one. So with the theme, you want to think of what are you most focused on right now? Now, a lot of us make vision boards for a year's time. I know I've made vision boards for a year's time. I actually made my vision board this year, right before my birthday. But I do want to say that I've been reading this book. I'll drop it right here. It's called The 12-Week Year. And this book really tells you to, especially as an entrepreneur, to avoid this thing called annualized thinking. Annualized thinking is the idea that we need to constantly be looking at our life and our goals and measure our worth based on what we can accomplish in a year. And I know vision boards make it really tempting to measure our sense of accomplishment or achievement or even worth through what we were able to do in a year's time. So I want to throw that out there. If that sounds like something you're trying to avoid, I would highly recommend getting this book and reading it. He actually recommends looking at a year as 12 weeks. And I know that sounds really crazy, but if you read it, you'll understand why. So I'm just throwing that out there as you start to get in the vibe of vision boarding and, bringing in the new year with all of these goals. You don't have to think of things in terms of a year. There are other options, but if you like to, and if it makes you feel most motivated, absolutely go for it. So step 2 is planning. I know you've already, planned a little bit about the theme that you're thinking through, but from there, that is the lens through which you can start to plan the other elements of your vision board. What are the 2 to 3, I would say, areas of your life that you most want to focus on? Now, I do want to say that this might feel right now restricting. If you know me and as you get to know me, I'm all about less is more. And more importantly, I actually think sometimes trying to do more leads to less. He talks about that in the book too. But basically, when you hone in and you start to like declutter your brain and your goals around the 2 to 3 areas of your life you are most committed to transforming in right now, and believe it or not, 2 to 3 is a lot. It's a lot of things to focus on. But boil down your goals and your vision to the 2 to 3 areas of your life you are going to commit to focusing on and growing in, or creating that transformation in. So write those down. If you're a journaler like me, you can start to journal out what you want for yourself, what you visualize for yourself in those areas. And being able to do that is going to help you cut out things that you actually care about. Because how many of us have ended up with a vision board of just a bunch of stuff that looked cute from a magazine that we decided to cut out? I know I have. Which brings us to step 3. And step 3 is to gather. Now, this is my favorite step, and let me tell you why. Now that you have your theme and you already have an idea of the things that you're prioritizing, you can go into a magazine with all of these random celebrities and, lipstick brands and whatever it is, health brands, whatever it is that's in the magazine that you're looking at. Or if you are the type of person who you're not for the magazine life and you want to, search online, that's even better in some ways because it's more intentional. You know what you're going into. Personally, I actually love going into this crazy magazine with all of these different things that I couldn't care less about, because it actually feels symbolic of day-to-day life. Let me explain. So when I have my vision that Arabs are up next, I care about the advancement of my community and really creating content that's affirming for us and having us be represented in ways that we care about. And the areas of my life that I really want to focus on are spiritual, financial, and wellness. I'm just making stuff up, even though that is probably what I picked when I did my vision board. And now that I go into this crazy magazine, it's like I can swipe left, literally, on all the things that do not matter. And it feels so empowering because that's what I want to do in life. Like, I want to walk out on the street and be hit with all of these distractions and be strong enough and focused enough to be able to be like, no, this is not what I'm doing this season. Oh, this cool opportunity to do this. Does this align with my vision? No. Okay, cut it. And I think that is actually what determines your success or failure towards a vision, is whether you are able to commit to your focus. So when you go into your magazine, or if you're going on Canva and creating cute things, or if you're just searching things on Pinterest to print out and cut out, you now know that it's not only like, tied together through this theme, but it is also fitting under these 2 to 3 focuses. So from there, gather as many things as you would like. You have full permission at this point to just gather whatever you want, cut out as many. I know I cut out so many things from a magazine with that lens in mind, wondering, okay, could I do something with this? Could I do something with this? Which brings us to the next step. You probably already know where I'm going with this, but not everything that you cut out or not everything that you think of in this phase stays. And this is perhaps the most challenging yet rewarding part in creating a vision board, is the weed out process. Because yes, even after you've gone in with this hyper focus and you've only cut out things or gathered things that fit under this, even after you go out into the world and you swipe left on things that do not work for you, maybe you want to wake up earlier so you stop going out late at night, even after you've made that first wave of cutouts, there are still things that could be pretty good for you that you just don't have time or energy or focus for. And so I want to reiterate something that I said earlier. A lot of us get the urge to come out with these vision boards. And I know, like, by a lot of us, half the time I'm talking about myself, where every square inch was like filled. Like, I didn't want any white space. I didn't want anything showing. I wanted to maximize every single inch of my vision board. And those were the years where I was very unfocused. I came out with a vision board that was symbolic of what was happening in my brain, where all of these figurative tabs were open, and I was just spread so thin across all of these things. And so even after you have gathered things that feel good and feel aligned, you want to take them through a couple more cuts, where I want to say, for me, a third of the things that I had cut out actually made it onto my vision board. And if you can see a little bit of my board right here, my vision board is pretty minimal. There are not a lot of things on there. And I love that because I feel so focused. This is like the most focused by far in my life that I have ever been. And it's because I've swiped left and said no to a lot of things that either are distractions or even if they're not distractions, are just not what I want to focus on right now. They could be like a not yet or a later, and that's fine. But right now, I've been extremely strict about what gets to make it into my day-to-day thought process. Which brings us to the final step in your vision board, and that is to commit. Figuratively and literally. Figuratively, you are committing to the things that you're picking from that, what made the final cut? Who made the final cut? Gather those and then start to commit them. This part was so hard for me because I can have perfectionist tendencies that I'm working through, but just figuring out symbolically how I wanted to place them on my vision board. If you're not into all that, you don't have to be. You don't have to have this really artsy vibe of how you want to place them on your vision board. It doesn't have to be like this corner is for this and this corner is for that. I would just say at the point where you've been intentional about gathering things that really, really align with where you want to go in life and are kind of tied together through this theme, then just paste them in a way that feels good for you. It can be really artistic and creative and extra sometimes. So I wanted to make sure to be intentional about how to place those. So if you are like me and you want them to be placed in a really symbolic way, even if it's an inside joke between you and yourself, I would just place them first before you glue anything on, see how you like it, and then get to do the whole gluing process. I know I let mine sit for a day before I glued it, just because I really wanted to feel so good about my vision. And I really hope that this helps clarify maybe some of the ways that you were feeling before about perhaps vision boards that you didn't like as much. I hope you try this process and it works for you the way it has been working for me. I've had this vision board up for over a month now, and I feel so great. I feel so proud looking up at it. And when I'm on those long Zoom calls and I'm just not feeling life, I look up at it and it truly does serve as a source of inspiration for me, which is way more than I could ask for. So without further ado, I do want to take you through my vision board because it's really special to me. And because I'm new to this YouTube world and you might be meeting me for the first time, I think this could be a great way for you to get to know a little bit more about who I am, what my goals are, and what journey you're about to embark on with me, because you're tuned into the remix. I hope you become part of this family and join this journey with me. And I really hope that once I share this with you, you could feel like we've known each other for a while, because that's what I want here. All right, baddies. So it's going to be a little bit of show and tell. And I'm going to show you as much of the vision board as I can. It's just a vibe. I mean, you might not understand it right now, and I will explain it. But I'm very proud of this work of art. I just bought a random frame and I actually pasted these on the back side of the frame and took the white sheet out. In retrospect, I would have kept maybe the white sheet and pasted them on the white sheet, again, to create that contrast. But a quick solution is painting this frame a different color or just getting a new frame. But I like it, honestly. I wanted it to be like a magazine. So that's why you see special issue up right here. You see a barcode right here. I was going for this vibe of a magazine cover, and I don't think I really achieved that, but it's okay because we're here. So when I mentioned a central theme, that's what you see here. So my business, my first baby, my forever baby, is called Arabize Media. So it used to be called Thawra Network. We've since changed the name to Arabize Media. It's not actually spelled like this. This is kind of a play on words. It's spelled Arab-I-Z-E. But the whole symbol of eyes, and especially with my Arab culture, the evil eye, the ayn, the nazar, whatever you call it in your culture, is something that means a lot to me, which brings us to this central theme. So the central theme really goes back to my identity as an Arab woman, not just me personally and how that has impacted my life so much, but how it has impacted the way I see my role as an entrepreneur, as someone who wants to leave this place, this country, this world better than I found it. And I want younger Arabs to be able to see themselves represented in ways that I know I didn't see myself represented and still don't see myself represented. I want them to feel proud of their identities from the second they're born. So that's kind of my whole thing. And so I created this little evil eye right here onto this woman with the blazer who's supposed to be me. My sister thinks this is weird and creepy, but I don't care because I think it's really artistic. The best way to describe what this symbolism is for me is that this is me, but this is so many people too. And so I didn't want it to be my face. I wanted it to be something that could be interchangeable to my mission, because so much of my vision board of what I care about coming into this new year is really not about me at the end of the day. And so on this eye, it actually says, I cut out something that says spiritual guidance, and another one that says earthly and otherworldly, which is me. I'm very earthly, but at the same time, I'm like constantly thinking about what's next in the afterlife and what my legacy is going to be. So without getting too much into the detail, I just wanted to talk about this concept of like empowerment for Arab communities. Hold your own as a community, watch what happens. And down here, it's kind of like a Mad Lib, I think that's what it's called. And it says, it's time we demand culture, power, icons, numbers, representation, space, voices, content of our own. And it's like, boom, bars, okay? So there's not much else going on here, but the title of this period of my life is that I'm having breakthroughs. Like, I just feel like every day has been a breakthrough for me. And I've also come to terms with the fact that in a lot of ways, I'm going to have to be, me and people in my generation are going to have to be the first. And I'm okay with that. So other than that, and other than the fact that my main focuses right now are on like health and wellness and growing, career, and then just being someone who is a creator. I really want to create. That's where the podcast star part comes out. But there's another really, really spiritual part to this that doesn't take up a lot of real estate on my board, but is very personal to me. It's actually something that I didn't really care for anyone to see or understand, but I'm going to explain it to my baddies. So right here, you can see it says there's a search bar. So I cut out a search bar from a random magazine, and I found this other quote that said, God is my only source and supply. And the symbolism behind this is that anything I'm looking for, it's this reminder that like, if I'm about to go and search something on Google, or like figuratively in life, if I'm going to go try to find something, it's this reminder that like, no, I don't need to search for anything outside of God and myself. God is my only source and supply. I don't need affirmation. I don't need even encouragement or anything. I don't need anything. I don't need accolades. I am me. I am worthy. God tells me I'm worthy, and that's really all that matters. So this is kind of like a wink to myself that anytime I'm trying to find something, that is my only answer. So once again, I'll kind of give you a closer look, and if you have any questions, not just about this vision board, but about your own creation, I'd love to hear about what you're thinking right now. So are you excited to make a vision board? Are you kind of over the vision board process? Do you make them digitally? Is there a different route that you take that you can share for how you make vision boards? I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me what you're thinking about this time around. I'd love to hear from you. All right, baddies, that's it for my vision board video. I am so excited to have you here, and thank you so much for watching. Tune in next time.